The new cards we have today, let me move over here. Goukis support. Goukis support in Dude, which is Doom of Dimensions, I believe, which is the set that also has the DDD support, if I'm not mistaken. So the core set after Duelist Advance, I believe. And I am a little scared, I will say, as an old head who's been playing Yu-Gi-Oh in 2018, or I don't, did it start in 2017 with Gouki, or was it just 2018? I don't know. Gouki was a pretty scary deck in 2018, but also part of me thinks that was mainly due to Firewall Dragon and Isold, which are both not a problem anymore. Isold because it's banned and Firewall because it's Aradad. So maybe new Gouki support is fine. So let's just see. I mean, the thing with Gouki is that they all have some pretty powerful effects, because every single Gouki, when it goes to the graveyard, searches a Gouki card, and that is a pretty valuable ability. But like, they just lack the ability to spam more of them onto the field now, I feel like. But we'll see if that support fixes. I can see a fusion monster down here, which I'm already a little bit confused by, because did they ever have a fusion monster? I don't think they did, right? I believe they had link monsters, but never fusions, at least from what I remember. But okay. Karos, thank you so much for the prime. I appreciate you. Anyways, Gouki, Mashin, Suprex. So we have a Suprex retrain here. It's got the same stat line, 1800 attack, 0 defense. It is a tuner, which right off the bat makes me think we're also getting a synchro monster, which would mean they're giving Goukis a synchro and a fusion monster, which is both a first for the deck. I think that's kind of cool, because Gouki has like lost the, like, I mean, Gouki started out as just like a generic link spam deck, right? Like with Nightmares and Isold and Firewall, the deck was just spamming the best generic link monsters at the time, which I feel like is not a very, I mean, it's still a strong concept nowadays, but people don't want that anymore. Like, people are not fans of decks that do that, right? Look at Snake Eyes, for example, right? Like Snake Eyes just spamming Apo, IP, and some generic synchros or whatever. Like that was not very well received overall, at least by myself personally as well. And so maybe pushing Gouki into a direction where they have their own identity in terms of the extra deck, because like, that's the funny part with Gouki. It was a link-centric deck, and none of the links were good. You played 0 Gouki cards in the extra deck, literally. Even though there's like, if I had to guess, there's like 10 plus Gouki link monsters. Maybe it's slightly less, but like, no one played any of them. So, okay, let's see. Let's go in. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. You can reveal this card and one other Gouki monster in your hand. Special summon both, but you cannot special summon while you control either of those monsters except Goukis. Okay, this is a powerful ability because Gouki lacks every single Gouki, like this one also here. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a Gouki card from your deck to your hand except another Machine Suprex. So, or Mashin Suprex. Every single Gouki has this effect, the main deck ones, which is really good. They generate a lot of advantage when you use them for link fodder or fusion or synchro, I guess. The problem with the deck is that they lack the ability to summon them onto the field. They search a lot of Goukis, but they can't get them onto the field, which is why this card, I think, is very, very powerful for the strategy, because this gets 2 Goukis out of your hand without using your normal summon, which is pretty good. But the question now becomes, what do you turn those into, right? Because you don't have Isold anymore. You don't have the generic link climbing stuff that you had back in the day. So we need more extra deck stuff, I suppose. And that's where these new cards here come in. And they have a fusion monster now. Gouki, the Tyrant Ogre. Level 8 Earth Warrior fusion effect monster. Materials, a Gouki link monster, plus a warrior, dinosaur, or Cyberse. Okay, I am not familiar enough with the Gouki extra deck stuff, so I'm guessing that means... Are some of the Goukis not warriors? I thought they were all warriors. Or is it like a reference to... They are all warriors, okay. Oh, okay, they are... they are related to Dino Wrestlers and G Golems, apparently, is what chat is telling me. Okay, and so that makes sense, I guess. Most of the time, I mean, I'm not super familiar with the G Golem stuff, except for the G Golem that revives others from the graveyard that they play in Cyber's decks. But I don't think you're gonna play Goukis with Dino Wrestlers or G Golems together. So most of the time you're just gonna use a Goukis as a warrior. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can target cards on the field up to the total link ratings of the Goukis link monsters used as material, destroy them. If you used a link 3 or higher monster as material, those cards cannot be activated in response to this effect's activation. This is somewhat interesting. However, using a link 3 as a fusion material is super inefficient. So I think it depends a little bit on, I mean, surely they give them a fusion spell, right? Because they don't expect you to just play polymerization in Goukis. And I don't think they have a fusion spell yet because they don't have a fusion monster yet. So I guess we're going to get back to this. We're going to get back to this as soon as we look at the fusion spell. Then there's a Synchro 6. Goukis Dragon Ogre. Generic. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can add a Goukis spell from your deck to your hand. Okay, that's neat, but what good Goukis spells are there? Because I literally only know Goukis Rematch, which is a pretty good spell, but you don't really need more ways to search it in Goukis because every single Goukis searches it when it goes to the graveyard. So making a like let's say in a perfect world, right? You use Mash and Suprex to special summon itself and Headbat from your hand because Headbat is a level 2, right? So that makes a level 6 synchro. But you don't really need to search Rematch with the synchro in that case because you're already getting 2 searches off of the 2 main deck Goukis that you send to the graveyard to make this. But I guess then you can just add monsters with those. But okay. Maybe there's new spells. Maybe the fusion spell you can add and so on and so forth. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target an earth monster you control, add a Goukis monster with lower attack from your graveyard to your hand. Also, while the targeted monster is face up on your field, your opponent's monster can only target that monster for attacks. Okay, graveyard effect gives you some follow-up. That's neat. Missed the second effect of the fusion. Oh yeah, right. If this card battles, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. I mean, that's a neat bonus to have. It's not the main reason to play the card, but yeah, okay, sure. The synchro is decent, I think, especially if they get some new spell cards, because if they don't get some new spell cards, this ability is a little bit redundant because all of the Goukis already do this. New Link monster as well. Link 2, Goukis Sheik Ogre. Link 2, Earth Warrior. Needs 2 Goukis, so not generic. If a Goukis monster is added from the deck to your hand, except by drawing it, you can special summon any number of Goukis monsters from your hand with different levels from each other, but you cannot special summon while you control any of those face-up monsters except Goukis monsters. During your main phase, you can fusion summon a Goukis fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. Okay. This might just be the best card we've read so far. Even though the first one is pretty damn strong for Goukis, this card fixes so many problems. First of all, since Isold has been banned, I feel like Goukis just didn't have a good link to go into. Because the generic links or the Goukis links that have already existed, I don't think they're very good. This one is very good because it solves the exact problem that I just mentioned, where Goukis have a lot of searching power. You can search a lot of Goukis to your hand, but you can't really get them out of there, right? You have your normal summon for Suprex. You have the new Suprex. You can sometimes, I think Headbat has an effect to special summon itself by doing something. I don't remember exactly. I think Twist Cobra I don't think Twist Cobra had one to special itself. I don't remember. Or like Twist Cobra only did something in the battle phase, I think. I don't know. But like they have very limited ability to special summon themselves. Headbat discards a Goukis to summon itself. Yeah. But this card just fixes that. You have a good Link 2 to go into now that lets you summon all of the Goukis you have in your hand. Now, granted, you can only use them for Gouki monsters, which is a good... I really like this. Similar to the Mikanko cards that they released, that we looked at yesterday. Being locked to the archetype is very important here, so this deck does not end up as just like the next generic spam slop machine, right? Because otherwise, you would just be summoning 2, and then you would turn it into Appaloosa and then keep comboing under it. You cannot do that. I mean, you can't do that in the TCG anyways because it's banned, but I'm also looking at it from like OCG and Master Duel perspective, right? The ability to just turn those Goukis into generic links would be super broken. So I'm very, very happy that you are limited to the Gouki extra deck monster pool. Because I also think with decks like these that just create a lot of bodies on the field, they lose all identity when you can just turn those bodies into whatever is the best generic links at the moment available, right? So that's good. That's good. Honestly, I am not completely sold by the fusion monster yet. If this is the only way to fusion summon, then I don't know. I mean, yes, it's a powerful tool for going second, and you're probably going to play as Edelwanov, because you can just pop a couple of cards. But I don't know. Should have been a quick effect. If it was a quick effect, it'd be very good, because then you could use it as a disruption on the opponent's turn. As it stands, it's just like this effect is what you're going to use going first, and this is just like a bonus effect for going second, which is also fine, by the way. Like I think I think giving the card an effect that's only useful for going second is fine. I think that is a fair thing to do with modern cards. Just make them a little bit stronger when you're going second. So maybe that is the intention. Maybe that's the entire point of the fusion monster and the link monster, is they just wanted to give the link monster a bonus effect that's only really good when you're not going first, which is fair enough. Okay, there's a spell. Gouki Fighting Spirit. If this one's good, I think that'd be massive. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. When this card resolves, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Earth monster, warrior, dinosaur, or cybers from your hand in defense position. You can tribute a Link 3 or higher Gouki monster, special summon a Dino Wrestler or G Golem from your deck or extra deck. Okay. Sure. So now, when I said earlier, you're not going to play these together with Dino Wrestlers or G Golem, that was before I knew they printed a card that specifically gave you access to those from the deck. Okay. Well, I still don't think, by the way, no fusion spell. This is the last card for now. Maybe there's more that they announce later or something, or in another set. But for now, no fusion spell. So the only way to fusion summon, realistically, the only way to fusion summon the Tyrant Ogre is with the Link monster. This card is underwhelming, I think. Maybe you would like play one of Pankratops. I would have to be fair, I would have to check the extra deck targets for Dino Wrestlers and G Golems. I am not familiar with those. Maybe there's like a really good Dino Wrestler or G Golem extra deck card that you can summon with this that is like very useful in the combos. I don't want to go and read through all of them right now. I'm sure people are going to figure it out because this card comes out in months. Or like if there was something really, really strong, you guys would probably already have told me. We can take a look at G Golem Invalid Dolmen, because that's what you guys are saying. I think the bigger deal with this card, to be honest, is that it just summons stuff out of your hand. I think that is a big deal for Gouki. It's like Gouki gets a lot of searches when it starts playing, and then the ability to summon one out of your hand, I think, is good. Okay, G Golem Invalid Dolmen. Co-linked monsters you control are unaffected by monster effects activated on your opponent's field. All monsters your opponent controls that can attack must attack this card. Once per turn, you can discard a Cybers, draw a card. If this co-link card is destroyed, you can negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. See, this is not bad, but it also isn't like that good. Because I don't know how many Cybers monsters you're going to play in your deck, so you can't really use that effect probably. Because you're still mainly a warrior deck in Gouki. And like, it's not the strongest thing to do. If that's the best thing you can think about summoning with this card, then I don't know if it's even worth. Because you also, keep in mind, you have to tribute a Link 3 or higher. So you have to basically Link climb all the way to 3, and then you're just swapping the Link 3 for this, which is not that crazy of a deal that you're getting here. I think it's just because Gouki gets a lot of searches that this card could still be a one of, where you just search it to get more Goukis from your hand onto the field, right? Because even like let's think about this. This card is going to be a hand trap magnet for this deck, right? Like you're going to link 2 into this. You're going to search some Goukis, and you're going to attempt to special summon them all. If your opponent stops you on that, you might have a problem because you might be stuck with too many Goukis in your hand. So a way to circumvent that is to use one of your searches on this. So even if your opponent interacts with your Link monster, you can still special summon one from your hand to keep going in some capacity. And I think that is the main purpose of this card. And I think it's honestly fair enough that they are not making super powerful Gouki spells, because once again, as someone who's played in 2018, and especially with these new tools, the searching power that Gouki has is incredible. They would basically be getting all of those spell cards for free. And a lot of spell cards that read pretty mediocre become pretty good when you get them for free. Think of the Blue Eyes field spell. Think of the Salamangrate field spell, or like all that kind of stuff. When you get those cards for free, you kind of have to reevaluate them. Not just like, on their own, they're not worth playing. But when you have very easy ways to access them every single game, it's a pretty good ability. And I think being able to special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand is one of those cards. You would not play that card if you couldn't search it, because it's not high quality enough. But when you're getting it for free every single game, it's a pretty good ability. And so I think that's why this card is okay. This support overall, I think, is okay. It is not as scary as I thought it would be, because they are good cards for Gouki. But the thing is, with these new cards, similar to the Mikanko cards, you are pretty limited to Gouki. And like, I think Gouki would have always been fine if they had to make Gouki extra deck monsters. I think the main problem with Gouki was that it was one of the best engines at the time to spam generic Link monsters, to spam the Nightmares, to make Isolt, to spam Firewall, to keep summoning them from the hand, and so on and so forth. The fact that these are pretty limited to Goukis, at least in the beginning of the combo, because at some point, right, these locks, and I will say this, they are not the strictest locks you could imagine, right? Because they only lock you while you control those monsters. So if you link them off into something else, you can then proceed to link into other things. So maybe it's still too generic, and maybe there's still problems with it, but like it also depends a lot on what is available at the time of release, right? Because with I mean, in the TCG they can't make Appaloosa anyways, even if they get rid of the locks at some point. So I'm not even sure what kind of generic Link monsters would you end on in a deck like this. Like, what would you make in Gouki that is generic and super good? I mean, yes, IP or SP, that's there, but like, what else? Like Silhouette, Rabbit, Masquerena. Like, if that's what you're doing, I guess that's fine. You know, like most of the really, really broken stuff has been handled by banning Appaloosa and like Sprite Elf and stuff. We'll see. Gouki as a Towers monster as Link 4. Yeah, maybe there's a couple of good Gouki extract tools that you have to rely on, but like Towers monsters are not as unoutable anymore most of the time. Well. Okay. That is the new Goukis support. Looking good without looking too scary, I would say. So that is, I think, overall a positive. Because I think maybe in my mind, maybe I'm just hating Gouki or fearing Gouki for the wrong reasons. Maybe it was never Gouki's fault, but rather the generic extra deck's fault back in the day. I mean, probably that's the case. So I'm not opposed to them trying to make more Gouki support to make people actually play a Gouki deck, right? I think that is fine. It was always Isol's fault. That's, I mean, I think that is a strong argument. Yes, I think the generic extra deck often makes people, including myself, hate certain decks, even though, like, I mean, I don't mind Gouki cards. The more I think about it, like, Gouki cards are kind of fun to play with. It's just when everyone ends on the most generic stuff available at the time. Gumblar loop as well. I just now remembered that Gouki was a deck that used Gumblar to loop your opponent's hand. Like it's always the stuff that it ends on, I think. That's a problem. But yeah, you have to find a balance between the strength of the archetype and the strength of the generic extra deck that's available to it. And I think Gouki was just off in that regard.